Starting a new project. This is going to be an embroidery project, and the first part of this project is going to be removing the inseam on the legs. Taking out the inseam allows me to hoop the leg of the fabric, and I've gone ahead and cut a long piece of embroidery backing to put behind the fabric because I'll be working my way down the leg of the pants with the hoop and the backing. To start this project, I'm going to be using my Pfaff embroidery machine, and I'm going to start with a monotone design. The reason I'm picking the monotone design is my cousin likes green and white, and so this design I will be able to do in one color. And of course I'm going to use different designs as we go, but I'm going to start with this design. The Pfaff embroidery machine does amazing and beautiful work, but mechanically it really hasn't been super reliable, so I can't really recommend this machine to anyone, but I do have it, and as long as it's working, I'm going to use it. This machine we have both a bobbin thread and a top thread. To build a foundation for a design, I'm actually going to use this design repeatedly up and down the length of both legs, and that's just to build our foundation that we'll be working from. Start to see a little bit of a design element now. Think of this as building the base of a tapestry. So this is dark green on dark blue, so it doesn't really stand out super great, but we are building a foundation for a design. I'm ready to move the hoop, so it's important to make sure I have it lined up properly. To start, I'm going to do this pattern on both legs at the same point. So I have the sizing lined up with the seam right here, and then the top of the frame comes just under this back pocket. Not going for perfectly symmetrical, we just want it to be really close. Once you get the hoop in the frame, which can be hard sometimes with a thicker fabric, just make sure you tighten it down really good so that it doesn't slip, because if it slips, that is really challenging. When I'm doing a design, I want both legs to be similar, but not perfectly symmetrical. Perfect symmetry makes people uncomfortable, so what I'll usually do is on one side, I'll make the design come down and in front of the knee and then wrap back this way, and then on the other one, I'll make it come down along the back side of the leg and then wrap forward. When you're chaining a design together, it's important to notice how far from the top and from the bottom the design is. So we have 2 inches here on the top. So when I rehoop this fabric, I'm going to want to go up 2 inches in order to sort of chain this together with the top of the next design. And for this leg, I'm going to actually make this design go this way and down the front. And it doesn't have to connect together perfectly. We just want to make sure that from front to back or from side to side that we're actually being similar in our method. When I'm doing full leg embroidery for pants, I actually run a long strip of my embroidery backing all the way down, because once I get my base design or my foundation laid, then I can just embroider up and down the leg easily. So we've hooped our fabric so that our design hangs down approximately 2 inches, and the top of our design is going to come across 4 inches. So that actually works out right about perfect. So this worked out really well. You can see the bottom of the other design ended right here, and then the next design started right here, so it's very close in proximity but not touching. And as we go, as I continue to work with this, we're going to add some brighter colors to it. I know it's kind of hard to see it right now, but in time this is going to create kind of a tapestry, and it's going to be quite lovely. So I've been embroidering on the pants, and right now in this light it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing, but you can kind of see there's a design going down the leg, right? We're building a foundation on both sides of the front. And a stronger pattern going on the back of both sides. You kind of see it starting to take shape. And we'll go up the other side. So you can actually see the pattern better on the reverse side on the backing, because the green stands out against the white backing. the foundation we're building. And before I go any further and add the next layer, all these little threads that are here, I'm going to cut these off, right? In other words, it'll be a real mess at the end. Now that we've cut all our jump threads, we're ready to start a secondary design. We're just going to run that right along the other design. This design is easier to see. It's actually going to be 33,000 stitches, and it's various shades of whites and greens. It's going to be pretty. This new design is starting to take some shape now. It's a multicolor cream, white, and different shades of green. This is really starting to have some personality now. As pretty as this design is, I think we're going to use this mirror image left to right and flip it, and we're going to bring this down here on this side like this right here. Alright, we are starting the second repetition of that really cool pattern up there. I did have to make a change with the thread. This thread kept like breaking, and so I found one that's close enough, pretty darn close. I don't think it's that noticeable. This design is really coming along. It's almost done, and I'll be ready to flip and do the other side of the jeans. These elaborate designs that are highly embossed are about 30,000 stitches. You can see we're about halfway through this design. Hard to believe it, right? But man, it's so cool. Normally when I'm embroidering, I have this laying down like this, but it seems with the sulky thread that it catches on the little grooves, and so I seem to be having less thread breakage by having it upright, which is not how you do it with a faff. When you're doing embroidery on jeans, balance is really important, and anything that's perfectly symmetrical stresses people out, so don't do that. So you can see that I have the design we just did on the front right side of these jeans and on the back right side of these jeans. So when I come over to the left leg, I'm going to put that same design on the top left and the bottom left before proceeding to the next design. But before I do that, I'm going to cut all the extra jump threads out. So now we've added a dominant design over our foundation, and it is asymmetrical. And now it's time to come in and lay some supporting designs, like maybe some irises. We'll see. So now I'm going to use some of these designs like the iris and maybe these blades of grass. And at this point, I'm going to do some differentiating between the different legs.
Can I have your attention, please?
Sometimes you have to start working on a project to figure out where you're going with it. And I really love how this project is going. Taking a little break from some of the embroidery to do a little bit of the cleanup and take out some of this backing before I continue to add a little more embroidery. But I added in a new design that I'm going to repeat in a few places. It's different, but it's kind of cool. This is the tedious part, getting the backing off. Pieces will rip off, but the parts that are inside the design you have to work to get out. Adding another design and staying in the green family of colors here at the top left of the leg, and to fill in some space. And I got so lucky because it's just going to fit in there and not go over the other artwork. I slid it all the way over to the left and up to the top. Now doing a little filler with some adorable little flowers. This little purple dealie is a great tool. You don't ever want to use your finger in this situation, just to make sure that the fabric doesn't bunch in the corner. Once in a while the brain gets confused in this thing, and so when that happens you just have to act like you're starting again and kind of fast forward and get to the right spot, and then just redo those couple of petals that are missing. Continuing down the leg with more of these cute little flowers. We are really coming along on the embellishing of these pants. I I feel like the fronts, other than this cuff, I still got to do something with the cuff. The fronts are looking really nice and have a little, but we're getting close, getting close. These are really starting to come together now. I want to try to put this design right here in this space right here, and then some more little flowers up here in this location. Something I haven't talked about yet is this embroidery backing. I bought this from World Widener company, and this is a medium to lightweight embroidery backing, but you want to be hooping this with your fabric on the back side of your fabric before you do every design. The other thing is I keep scraps of this. If it's at least big enough to fit one of my small hoops, just stick them in a drawer, because this stuff isn't free, it costs money. One of the important aspects of these designs is being sure to remove the backing. Now for designs like this, it's easier because it just pulls off. But for designs like these that are actually very fast to go on, you end up kind of digging this out a little bit, and it just takes some patience. And if you won't be able to get all of it in time with washing, the rest of it will come out, but you want to get as much as you can because this heavy embroidery will be a little bit stiff initially, so you don't want anything extra in there. All right, these have come a long ways, and we're down to doing the cuffs. So this is the decoration on the back side of the pants. And this is a decoration on the front. I think these are going to be beautiful, but we got to do the cuffs. I think this design in a monotone green color will look really pretty on the bottom of the cuffs. So I think I'm going to give this a try. And of course, we'll do it landscape. In just a moment to talk about embroidery machines. My Pfaff does really amazing work, but mechanically, I've actually replaced that on warranty 4 times because of mechanical problems. But this Brother PE 800 is about 1/3 the cost if you can find one. It does beautiful work, maybe not quite as beautiful as the Pfaff, but it does really good work without the stress. Well, I can tell you that I think this design is perfect for a cuff. Love it. And while we're at it, let's add some happy shamrocks. Another thing that I really like about this PE 800 Brother embroidery machine, I can actually stack multiple designs within the frame. So it's almost like you're creating a story. An important aspect of doing embroidery and having a nice finished product is be sure to trim all of your jump threads and be sure to get all the backing off on the reverse side. I am going to repeat the same design at the bottom of the cuffs on all 4 cuffs, just being sure to line up the fabric the same where the hem lines up against the bottom of the hoop and on both sides of the hoop. Very important to line it up properly. My favorite jeans to embroider are really old jeans that are so old that you're about ready to toss them. You can really breathe new life into them. You never want to rush the creative process. It's good to pick it up, work on it a little bit, and put it down. I was very fortunate to be able to find a really good Pfaff dealer to replace my machines on warranty. Unfortunately, that shop, so little time, has gone out of business. A lot of businesses didn't make it here that were shut down during the closure. But that's one hard thing about Pfaff. It's actually quite hard to find a qualified person to work on these machines. Once you finish your embroidery, remove your backing and your jump threads. You'll want to finish the edges of the jeans before sewing them back together. I'm just going to do a zigzag all along here to keep it from fraying. Once you're done zigzagging the edges, go ahead and pin your pants legs back together, right sides together for the fabric. And I like to start at the cuff and work my way up towards the crotch. When you're ready to sew, you'll be able to see where the original seam was, and I actually like to do 2 seams for stability. Once we have the garment back together, here where we separated it, we're going to want to go back over the seam with a light colored thread, and I usually go over it like twice. And when I'm doing this, I like to go forwards and then backwards to get the same thickness as the machine thread. You'll get a nice effect just like this. For a finishing touch, I highly recommend the labels from Dutch Label Shop. The woven labels have really good quality, so I have a care label that I can put on things that I've embroidered, along with a label that's got my handle, Suburban Gardener, made with love in Nevada, USA. This is the front of the pants. I'm so happy with how these turned out. Let's take a look at the back. When you're doing a project like this, only you will know when they're done. It's a combination of design and balance. And this is how they look from the side. You always got to think about the side view. Hope you love them.